Hello and welcome to the Shirley Ryder Show, and I'm Shirley Ryder, and today we're going to be talking about the beginner's guide to selling your music online. And primarily we want to find out, or our goal is to find out ways that we maybe can attract people to our own online music store that we're selling our music on. And we have a panel here today of your everyday indie artists and also a listener, a great listener of music. So I'd like to introduce them to you now. The first person, Scott Peters.
Hey.
Yeah, and you are here as a listener.
Yeah.
Yep. And Scott's 19 years old and he listens a lot to your headphones.
Probably too much, but yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get a lot of answers from Scott. Of course, Les Robinson.
Hello.
From Apollo Steam Train and formerly
many other places.
Yeah, the Nod and different places. Awesome to have you here. And Jan Guitar Girl, yeah. Jan, of course, is representing us from Sun Life from the media because she writes a music column in there. And also all of us, Les and Jan, both musicians as well. And Gavin Northcroft.
Hello.
Who, of course, has his own recording studio and does his own keyboards and also plays in bands. I guess the first question is, why do we need to sell our, probably maybe an obvious one, but why do we need to sell our music online? And so looking at that, I suppose, like, I would ask you the question, firstly I ask Scott, where do you go to buy your music?
Well, when I go to buy music, I usually either look into like actual stores to see like different kinds of music, just to see different genres, see if anything strikes out, or
Are you talking like record stores, or are you talking about online or offline?
Like offline, just like
offline.
General,
yeah. Okay.
Or if I don't look there, I'll just look on like actual websites like Spotify.
I'm interested, Scott, in your response. So your first response was a hard copy shop, not a 99 shop. I'm interested to know where that is.
So yeah, there's a place Kmart.
Okay.
No, there's the one down the what do you call it, the village.
You made Monarch Music, which was one. Oh, cool. That's good.
That's
very good.
Yeah.
Top marks.
Absolutely. yeah. So that's
That's
great.
very good.
I'm just trying to get my vinyl I guess my vinyl stock up. Just to, I don't know. It looks better to have lots of vinyl, I think.
Oh, cool. Very good, man.
Cool.
Oh, I brought him up well.
Yep,
trained him well.
Because when I was his age, oh boy, I was collecting LPs and of course all that's changed. So so that was good to hear.
Yeah, it was. So Les, where would you mostly go?
To be honest, I don't buy a lot of music these days. I don't find the need. There's just so much available on YouTube, but if I do, it is online because the stuff that I want to purchase isn't available locally.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
The market's not here.
Thank you. And Jen?
Yes, I watch stuff on YouTube and just see what people are sharing online and go from there. But I used to buy from the record shops, but everything is changing. It's a changing world.
So you'd be more likely to buy online?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gavin?
I tended to sort of do something similar to Jan, and then I kind of go look around and see what other people are listening to. But I also do my own exploring on Spotify quite a lot. I tend to do a lot of time there, and YouTube. So between the two, I can listen to stuff that I already know and enjoy, plus start exploring new artists as well. That tends to be my go-to place. I think if I could buy more stuff on CD, and as we know that's disappearing really quickly, I probably would, but dare I say it, I don't even own a CD player in my house these days.
I've got one in my car.
Oh wow, that's scary.
I think you hit on an interesting point there, Gavin, the exploration, the ability to go online and explore, listen to new music that you hadn't, old music that you love, but new music that you've never listened to before, instantly, quickly, and in your own home.
And I think that's what it is. It's the sheer convenience of it.
Whereas even if if you go to the hard copy stores like I used to back in the day, they did. The odd store would have headphones so you can listen to, but not many. You'd pick up a Black Sabbath album and go, "Yep, I love Black Sabbath. I can't listen to it, but I'll buy it anyway."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, just I think that we all agree that you probably do need to have, if you're going to be an indie artist with your own music, you're going to have to look at putting songs online. Maybe we could still put some on CD as well, but would you agree that we probably would have to have our songs online if we wanted to sell?
I would say so, yeah, because I mean, the reality is most people, both young and old, generally seem to have gone that way now.
And the fact is that even if you're an unknown trying to break into a market, you will struggle to even give your CDs away. So,
Exactly.
and then high cost of production.
Exactly.
Yes.
Actually, I just realised the last 2 or 3 CDs I've bought have been because I've got so many music friends on Facebook, and I go to their, we support each other. I go to their launches, and I think the last I've bought CDs at their album launches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but there's not that many CDs anymore.
Well, I had a look online, and I'm sorry, I don't have the exact place where I found it, but basically it was saying in the US, 80% of our music
sales.
is bought online,
Yeah.
and 20%, only 20% is hard copy.
Yeah.
So I think that basically says
Says
that
it
we
all.
really do. So that gives us our basic reason why we need to be looking at releasing our stuff online, which is what the topic is about today anyway. So I'm just, I'm just going to give my own example and turn it into a personal conversation. Yeah. And for me, I brought out my album, some of you will know, called The Shirley Birds. I can't remember what year it was, probably about 2012 or something. And in that time, online, it was distributed with CD Baby, and I think I've made $80.
Wow.
$80 online. I've sold a few more CDs, but through online So my question is, not just for me, but on behalf of everyone, how can we help people like us? I mean, we can go to experts and ask them, but sometimes, like as you were saying, Jan, you go to something like, what's it called? We won't name it. You go to an expert talk or something like that, and you can actually come out more confused than you
A
did.
seminar or something,
Yeah, the New Zealand Music Managers Federation, the
Yeah.
MMF. When I first heard that, it reminded me of the WWF. The wrestlers. Brendan took me to a meeting in Auckland, and I went, "Where's the wrestlers?" But they do hold seminars often. I think they've got one coming up at
They've
Tortoise.
cancelled it.
They've cancelled it.
virus.
But they are very good.
I got a private invite to that one, and I was thinking about going, but now that it's been cancelled.
Yeah, it's been canned.
Yeah, I got an
I've
invite
been to
too.
a couple of them, and you're right. If you're not up with the run of things, it can
Goes over your head.
it goes over your head.
Yeah.
But if you do a bit of homework on it first, and it is very useful because there are some very experienced people in there. So
So let's look at this as the homework.
Yep.
As opposed to the expertise view.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The discussion, not
The discussion, and other people
Yeah.
can. It'd be really nice if you guys could actually feed in laterwards and
Yeah.
tell us what you
Yeah.
think too, because you might have better ideas than us or questions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off quickly, and I'm going to start off with you, Gavin. I think I was going to start with Scott, but I think I might go to Gav. I can always come back to you. So as a studio engineer and a person that's in the studio recording and that sort of thing, Gavin has a small studio at home, don't you? So I was just thinking, I wanted to ask you this question. Okay, I've recorded my album. It wasn't actually with Gavin, it was with someone else, but it was with a smaller studio. I didn't go to a big studio, overseas studio or Roundhead or something like that. Do you think if someone likes my songs, they're going to still listen to them in my music store and buy them if they're not done up in Auckland at Roundhead or some studio like that, and they're done here? Because that to me is an important question.
So I'm going to answer that in 2 stages.
Yep.
The first stage is the days of the big studios, because of the cost involved in having to pay these people to do their job, is becoming numbered. And what has begun to happen is the likes of myself, Tim Julian, Shane Davies, there's smaller to middle-sized studios cropping up everywhere, and there's a whole group of us who have done the miles, done the time, and learnt our craft, and therefore we've got the same skill set that these guys have got in the big round heads and York Street and so on. It's and we've just had the time to sit there and hone it and practice it and learn it ourselves. So I would say, down to the second half, not as necessary as it used to be to go to a big studio, and every studio is different. It's really about finding one that you feel comfortable in. You might go to, say, my studio and go, oh, well, that's not really for me, and I'm like, okay, cool. You might go to Shane's and go, hey, but that suits me, that's the kind of way I like to work, and each one of us has got our specialties and our skill sets and our strong points. I mean, I'm quite comfortable doing sort of, digital samples and loops and synth sounds and stuff like that, and also emulating real instruments as well. And also I'm getting very proficient and very comfortable at mastering, which that's another whole conversation again. But then you've got the likes of Shane and Tim who do a great job of recording live bands. And they've got a beautiful setup for that. You walk in, plug in, play, done.
Shane's great at videos too.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, each, my advice to people would be is find a studio that it feels right to you. Talk to the guy that owns it or the people that own it. Go and have a look, see what they've got. But be prepared to spend a bit of dollars because it's, you know, you're not going to get a good result for free. That's just not going to happen.
Yep.
Of course, you're not going to spend the thousands and thousands you might have spent at Roundhead, but you're going to need to be prepared to spend something because it's the age-old saying of you're only going to get out of it what you put in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that question over to you now, Scott, as a listener, and ask you, if there was
Good response.
Does
that answer your question?
No, it
Probably
hasn't actually, sorry. If someone has been to a studio and say the quality is not way up high with what it would be if it came out of, you know, the top studio in the world, but it's all right.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. Probably to the listener, it probably sounds fine. Would that make a big difference in if you were going to buy something?
I really don't think so, especially because
If you liked the song, I mean.
Yeah. A lot of the bands that I'm starting to like now are really like indie and like not very big, but besides their own like city or whatever, and even then maybe not. And the recordings are like tinny and like not great. But if I can hear that the instruments, like actual instruments and what they're saying, like, you know, what they actually sound like is good, and the bass of it, then I don't think the actual recording matters.
The quality.
Yeah, and
as long as
plus,
that's reasonable. Yeah.
and as well as it also can be re-released or re-recorded later on.
Yeah.
If it, you know.
Yeah. But actually, you might have a view on that, Liz. Do you have a view?
Oh, I've got quite a good view from here. No, look, there's a lot of very good points going around. So your question was whether it makes a difference to the people who are going to buy it, the quality of it. And if you think about marketing in general, people who don't have a lot of discretionary income, that they will go to a lesser product.
Yeah.
People who have a lot will go to a thing. But with music, it's not just the price of that. It really is, it's art.
Yeah.
But for the artists themselves, I've recorded pre-digital days. I've recorded live. I've recorded at Roundhead. I've spent lots of money on things, and I've done them on the cheap side as well. I was in a recording studio in Kapong, which is right under the mountain in Taranaki, and Rowan Road Studios, and the recording was done on videotape. The audio on videotape, because that was the best quality at the time.
Yes, I remember those days.
Right, so there's all different sorts of things, and as Gavin said, different studios and different places can offer different things, and that will affect the final outcome. What I will say is that the one thing that affects the final outcome is the use of a producer. And the reason that you need a producer is objectivity. It's very hard. If someone's sitting there engineering and producing, you're getting half an engineer and half a producer, or somewhere in between, or a different percentage of both.
Yeah.
You need an engineer to do the tech and a producer to do the producing, and that will make a difference in the outcome.
I think that thing you were talking about there is if you've got both hats on, then it becomes a classic case of you can't see the bleeding forest for the trees.
It's like
you get lost in your own project.
And that's right, absolutely. And that's what you said. How you're specialising in mixing and mastering, and the other guys do the tracking, and that's a very good process because if you do the whole tracking thing and the recording, and you're in there, and some people even play bass and piano and sing on their customers' tracks, then you're part of the music. No way can you be objective into that, you know. And then if you mix and master it, my goodness, your fingerprints are all over it. Having an objective producer is one of the most important things you can have to the quality of the end product. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It just has to be objective and approached from that way.
The other thing that I think that I'll add to what Liz is saying too is I think nowadays it's quite important to add to what you're saying, where you could almost divide the process into 3 steps: recording, mixing, and mastering. And it probably
absolutely,
and it's probably very important to have a different person at each stage.
That
way, the objectivity
remains that way. Yes, and the barriers are clear.
the next band comes in with a fresh set of ears.
Absolutely.
And he's going to reinterpret what you've done in a different way. He's not going to go, oh, I've just gotten lost in all this mix and that bass is too horrible. And
Absolutely.
He's going to go, right, here's what I've got. What can I do with it? This is my job. I've got to make this sound good with what I've got here.
Okay, so that's...
So the last process I was involved in, recorded at Roundhead, mixed in London and mastered in LA.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
So you want separation, and that's exactly how Greg Haber does everything like that. That's his process. So that's what you get is objectivity, you get clean ears. It's almost like asking the builder to be the painter and the carpet layer at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can I make a
Yes,
comment
sorry,
too?
of course.
From a point of view of the songwriter, for the appeal for the audience, I think right from the word go, the song itself having like a catchy hook, it's got to have something that people think, wow,
Yeah.
it sticks in your head.
Yep.
And so it doesn't matter how it's recorded, if that'll
it's a good
attract
song.
someone, and then everything
That's
else.
what I was asking Scott, really. Yeah, if it's a good song, is it going to make a big difference? Yeah.
Like your latest, we've got a plug for Shirley here, but I mean, she didn't ask me, but I reckon your latest song, that What Part of No, wow, it's just so catchy.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, wow, it's got that good hook.
Keyboard man.
Yeah, keyboard man, Gavin.
Anyway, moving
Brilliant.
on. Thank you.
Okay.
So I want to talk about the importance of goal setting. So I've recorded my album, and Tim Armstrong actually did a great job.
I loved him.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Tim too.
Tim.
What I don't have is I don't have any goals. How important is goal setting, Les?
Extremely, extremely important, but it's also important where you do the goal setting. Right at the beginning, at the outset.
Right from the beginning, from going to the studio.
Yeah, so no good if you go to the studio and then someone says, well, what do you want to do with the stuff? Oh, I might do that. So you've already entered into the process that was going this way, then someone comes along and all of a sudden you're going that way. It's got to be from the beginning. Otherwise it's not really strategic. It's just reactive. Reacting to things along the journey. Oh, that looks like a good road, I might go down there. It's got to be thought out beforehand.
Yeah.
All goal setting needs to be like that.
Yeah, and sort of, I suppose, like with goal setting, so you're basically looking at your long-term goal, what you actually want to accomplish, and then you're just breaking it back from that to the beginning.
That's pretty much it is.
Yeah. And if people struggle with making goals, because I do sometimes, where can we go? Like, who could we maybe ask to help us?
Soccer coach.
Soccer coach?
Goals.
Oh, we were a bit slow there.
Sorry.
One of the things I would add to that is that with the whole goal setting thing is almost like there's somebody I'm working with who I'm working with an album that we're doing at the moment, and he made a good comment which was just see the end result and work backwards.
Yeah.
Coaches, there's a lot of coaches around, a lot of mentoring around.
Yeah.
But you look on the internet, there's a
probably
gazillion of them,
Exactly.
So I guess the part of that strategy needs to be, okay, I need to do some goal setting, and I need, like you said, some help with that.
Yeah.
So part of that strategy is to find the right person to help you do some goal setting.
Yeah.
Whiteboard and a marker is incredibly helpful in goal setting.
Right.
I think with me it's sort of, when you said you try not to change halfway through, but for me I think I had a goal of like putting a CD out of my original songs, which I'm in the process of doing, but now I'm thinking, wow, does it need to be a CD, so...
Yeah, that's okay though.
Pull it back and...
Having a change of direction in the middle of it, it's okay. Agility is good. It could, rather than trying to set yourself in concrete and go down a road where there's a big barrier you're never going to get around and keep banging at that barrier. It's good to be agile, but the important decisions have to be made at the start.
Yes, that's right.
The foundation of a good strategy.
And Scott, just was going to ask you to do with goals today. As a listener, what do you think we should be including? For you, for the listener, what do you think we as indie artists should be including in our goal setting when making our albums that would attract you to buy our music or listen to our music in a online music store?
Well, I don't really know, because a lot of the bands that I listen to, I just like, it's for like Spotify, it's like related artists.
What artists are these? Scott, tell us what
a lot of them are very like, I guess you'd say indie rock, indie rock, punk, that kind of thing.
So if I had an album up there on Spotify, or a song playing or whatever, how would you even find out about my song if you've never heard of me? Like, how could you actually find me? I mean, do they have logarithms? You said you know a little bit about that, or maybe?
Maybe a little, not really much, but it's essentially like if your song is in a playlist with another band, and you look on that band that you were in a playlist with,
Yeah.
And they're related artists, you could be one of them.
Right.
That's how some of them
That's
get.
how it
Yeah.
works.
Okay.
It's almost like an automatic networking.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
links to another one.
But there are ways of using that, and a lot of
Cracking
these
up.
guys
Yeah.
that you see online that are talking about creating a whole new music industry. It's digital marketing. Brendan's doing it right now. He's been
Yeah.
doing it for the last year.
Right.
So it's using all the social media platforms
Mm-hmm.
and knowing how the algorithms work, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get your style of music
Mm.
in front of the people who like it.
So my
Yeah.
question is, how do you find out
The
how
other,
the algorithms work? What do you know? How do you
Yes,
find
it's
out?
good.
You
Which,
sign up to one of those
there's,
courses. A guy called Carl Hitchburn
Right.
online. He does it.
Carl Hitchburn online, right?
Hitchburn,
Thank you.
right.
the other thing that happens, and I learnt this just recently, is you've got the algorithms going on Spotify. The other thing that happens is Spotify employ their own team of curators
Yes,
slash gatekeepers.
Mm.
These are the taste makers,
Yeah.
and everyone's trying to get their music onto these guys' playlists, because by doing so, suddenly you open yourself up to an audience of millions.
Mm.
Because
Right.
everybody checks these guys out and goes, oh well, he's listening to something. Okay, cool, I'll go listen to that. You know, so
Yeah.
there's that side of it too.
The
And
radio
So it's like a
stations do
referral.
it. The radio
Radio.
stations used to do a similar thing too.
Yes,
New
they
Zealand,
do.
they
Oh, yeah,
gatekeepers
playlists.
on their programmers. You know, they
Mhm.
decide
Program
what's going to
directors,
fly.
yeah.
And they've got
Mm.
criteria.
Mm.
And Spotify do pretty much. the
What's
same
interesting is that the same conversation that I learned recently now is that even the radio stations now are taking their cues from Spotify.
Yes, from Spotify. Yes,
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
there's that overlay point everywhere now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. So I was just going to talk about. Okay, so we've talked about our goal setting a little bit. We've just touched on it. And I was just going to talk about. So one of our goals is obviously to get people to our music site, and I was just thinking in terms of probably the media could be one way, even if it's just local people.
Mm.
So of course. We have lots of different forms of media. We have social media and Facebook and all the rest of it. But one form of media is print.
Mm.
And Jan, of course, you do the music column in Sun Life. So I'm going to ask you a few questions now. So how important do you think the newspaper column is in bringing an audience?
Well, in my experience, I've done, over the last couple of years, I've done over 50 columns, and they are mostly local people. There's a few people passing through, but the local people that have been here are what people, all their main fans that know them, have been following,
Yeah.
are usually in the area.
Yeah.
So it's good for me to like do a write-up about that person with a photo, so that if anyone's looking, they think, oh, there's such and such.
Mm.
So you grab the attention of the photo, they recognise them, and then they read the column and they think, oh, they're playing at the Black Sheep on Sunday, or they're playing, and that person will then have an opportunity to go to the gig. And what I try and do is, I say to people, I'm sorry it's so far in advance, but I like to get it way in advance, so that, because so many people will get a newspaper and they're busy in the weekend and they don't look at it until they're just about to throw it out in the bin, and then they look through, oh damn, I would have missed that. But if it's saying, oh, that's this weekend, then you still will get people.
And
Yeah.
that there is part of your answer. The effectiveness of newspaper articles. If it doesn't end up in the bin, it might get read beforehand. What she's saying is that if it goes in a week earlier, that chance of being seen before it goes in the bin
is bigger.
is bigger by a
Yeah.
week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Will it pop up in front of you as soon as you turn your computer on? Probably not.
Actually,
Scott,
you're a good example, because what happened is Apollo steam train was playing somewhere, so Brendan came to see me, and this is like goal setting again, and he said, well look, can you do a column on me? And then a week later, Les's story, and a week later, was it Ian or Ian Clark or someone, people that were involved with the band, so that every week people are saying, oh, that's that same gig, that's that same gig. So they had, so that,
Building a story
Yeah.
out of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's great. And you can do it
Brendan's a
like
great goal, an extremely good goal setter.
so
It
that
does get a little bit narrow focused every now and again.
Hi, Brendan.
But, is that going? Oh, sorry. But in terms of setting goals and working towards it, extremely good at that. And that the motion of the Apollo steam train is all about that, really. We're huge in Brazil thanks to this digital marketing.
Steaming ahead. Yeah.
So we're going to have to learn how to write songs in Portuguese. Apollo steam traino.
So Scott, I'm just wondering, would you be likely to pick up the newspaper and read something about music?
I don't think I'm really the main demographic for newspapers.
Just asking.
It's going out.
What about, and Dan...
You're going to regret that when they run out of toilet paper.
Actually, I've just about run out myself. Dan, just wondering what Scott was saying. So, do you have your column online? Or is it just in print?
Oh, they do print it online as well.
It is online.
Because you can go into Sun Live now and look up.
Yeah. I've seen Derek's online. I just wasn't sure if yours.
Yeah.
So would you be more likely to read it online or just not read it?
I mean, yeah, maybe. Depending on the day.
Do you read newspapers online?
That's the question.
I don't.
He doesn't.
I sometimes do for like looking into history or whatever, but not for
not just a general
current
thing.
events. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How important is it to sending a photograph? What dimensions and what sort of quality is?
Well, I submit a photo with it, and it's got to be like high definition because if it's not, you want the phone. The photo will come out grainy, and people think, "Who's that?" But also, the main thing is
counterproductive, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So the main thing is that your fans have got to recognise you and think, "Oh, there's such and such," or even if they don't know you, they might see a picture of somebody playing a saxophone and think, "Oh, that's different," and they have a look. Yeah.
And Scott, I'm just getting away from the paper a minute, but still talking about photographs. And so if you go to, say, an online store, I'm not sure if you go there at all, but if you go to an online store, quite often have albums online, got photographs on them, or pictures. What would be more likely to draw you to, if you didn't know the artist, would that photograph or that design or creativity or whatever on the album, would that help draw you in, or would it just not worry you?
I think it depends on the person, but for me personally, it's not the actual album cover, because album covers don't really mean much to me. It's the actual name or whatever of the album, or the actual
the name
band,
of the album.
because that shows their writing. Because the cover is not going to be whoever was in the band. They don't make the cover. They make the music, or they write it.
Some intelligence going on over here. But it's true because it's relevant because back in the day the album cover, the CD cover,
the album
cassette cover, guys,
you opened up the cover and it was like, wow,
it was part of the experience stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wow, nothing like a new album cover.
Yeah.
See these days online, if you buy a CD, if you order a CD, they give you the stuff to print off. And turn it into a cover. Yeah. So that's very interesting.
It is. Yeah. Okay, so Liz, I've just got the question down here. How important is social media in building an audience?
No, these days you couldn't do it without it. Really, you can't do it without it. Even a local one, because everyone's looking at it. Everyone's attention's there. 9 times out, phones, computers, you look at a TV, it'll be all about what's even television stuff's lining with the internet now. It's all a consistent message. Digital marketing is just everywhere. So those social media platforms, that's what they are. They are marketing. They are marketing. And now because of the way that smartphones and the smart internet of things works, it knows what you like, what you're up to, where you're going, so it feeds you stuff. And that's how it gets stuff under your nose, the nose of people who like your stuff. Yeah. Those algorithms figure out what I like, what I'm after, what I need, what I'm looking for, and whammo, up it comes. Yeah. So if you're not listed on there as a provider of one of the things that Liz needs, then you're not going to come up on my feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Right, that's really interesting. I was going to ask Scott a question, but I actually forgotten.
That topic is another whole beast.
It is. It'll be a great topic.
It is. Yeah. It's a whole PhD in itself.
Exactly. It really is.
Yeah.
And you could wax lyrical all night long about it and still not cover everything.
And by the time you finish the conversation, that world would have changed anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It does.
Yeah. So Scott, as a listener of music, to come back to the listener again, what perhaps might drag you in to someone's page, you know, on social media? What could be some interesting posts or something that you might want to engage in or read, as opposed to ones that you might gloss over?
I think for me, like the younger generation in general, it's more about trying to personalize yourself to make yourself seem like the band itself is you. You know what I mean? Or they are like you. So a lot of them just try and say, "Oh, I just ate a burrito with 3 and whatever," just to seem like they are normal or the same as you. You know?
Right.
Just to seem like they have faults or whatever, and that's I think
good.
that's the main thing, especially with like Twitter or whatever.
Be yourself.
To seem
Be yourself.
Right, that's
very
very
good
that's
point.
so interesting.
Very good point.
That because back in the day, you think about Robert Plant, you think about Freddie Mercury. There was a big gap between those gods and us.
Yeah.
You know, they're over there, they're huge. Whereas now,
It's not
that's
like that.
no. Lord did it all from her bedroom and got a producer and band. You know, it's a totally different thing, and it's all, you know. Look what's his name, Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Started out from his bedroom and now he's a multi-billionaire.
mega
Well,
star.
I'll be starting out from my toilet with my toilet roll.
And a Corona.
Moving
Hey,
on.
can we do a plug for Corona?
We might get picked up.
big ambulance turns up outside.
Yeah.
Basically,
Nice
my
endorsement
nose
deal.
goes off. Okay, Kevin, or Liz, whoever knows the answer.
I'll figure one out.
Because I was going to give this question to the person that couldn't show it tonight. Never mind. Facebook likes. What do you know about? You know how you can buy Facebook likes? And have you heard about that? How does that work?
Yeah. Well,
I heard about that from you.
Oh, okay.
Eugene,
I don't know much about it.
we have a colleague in common, Gavin. No, excuse me, sorry, and he wrote a song.
Yeah,
called
exactly. I was just
and
thinking
it's
about
all
that.
about that.
It's all about likes and getting page views
And what it's
and
all
this.
about, what the whole like thing is all about.
Because you can actually buy them though, can't you? You can
Seems
buy
fun.
Facebook
I
likes.
don't know
Apparently,
too
yeah.
much
And page
about
likes.
it.
The thing about buying likes
You know-
is most of them are usually scams or just trying to grab your money. Because the thing with buying likes is that Facebook knows you're buying them and they know that they're bots. So they just take them away almost within 24 hours.
So they're worthless.
They're
Yeah.
worthless.
They're actually worthless.
They're worthless,
Right.
but they seem like it.
Worthless people.
Uh-huh.
That's the short answer.
Uh-huh.